He's going to detail what he calls his America First national security strategy. In it, he's expected to particularly target China and Russia for not only economic aggression, but doing so to the deliberate detriment of the United States. And he says it's going to stop. The former Trump campaign foreign policy advisor, Walid Phares, former Deputy Assistant Secretary of the Army, Van Hipp, both are Fox News contributors. Very happy about that. So, Van, to you first on what the president says. If you think about it, he's got to walk a tightrope, maybe not, in your view, regarding the Chinese, particularly at this time with North Korea. But he's going to call them out for going a little too far when it comes to trade. What do you think?
And I'm glad he's calling them out. Neil, he's probably being a little too charitable with the Chinese. Anyone who steals the Social Security numbers of 23 American citizens, quite frankly, I'd call them something else. So I think he's being a little charitable there. But I'm glad he's calling them out. The South China Sea, economic security equates to national security. That's part of the Trump message, the America First message. We're going to protect Americans, and we're going to protect their jobs. The South China Sea, Neil, $5 trillion worth of cargo goes through there every year. It is vital to the economic security of the free world. This president gets that.
Walid, what do you think?
Well, I think what is basically the principle here is that the United States national security doctrine will have to preserve United States national security and also the international security of our allies. And I think the president is going to expand on that. We find ourselves in opposing positions with Russia in many places, and most of these cases are because of third countries. The most important case, of course, after looking at North Korea, is Iran. We and our allies in the region, Arab moderates and Israel, are in a confrontational situation with Iran. And Russia is strategically supporting Iran, strategically supporting Hezbollah. So that has to be clarified. In addition to that, of course, Russian expansion into other areas in the region, but also into Latin America with Venezuela. So we find ourselves in opposing positions because of the alliances that the Russians have developed.
You know, Van, I'm just wondering what the fallout will be among the Chinese and the Russians. The Chinese have already claimed, I just want to make sure I'm getting my wording right, that these are reckless and irrational remarks. What do you think?
America first does not mean America alone. And I think where the president is going to emphasize today is we're going to put Americans first, but we're going to work with countries where there are common interests. Russia, for example. I think it was a big deal what the CIA did to thwart the plot by radical Islamists to attack the Kazansky Cathedral there in St. Petersburg. They have a problem in Russia, Neil, fighting radical Islam. They had an attack on their subway system in St. Petersburg back in April. And last week, Moscow authorities announced that they had arrested a number of ISIS-linked suspects who planned suicide bomb attacks on New Year's Day. So that is a common area we can work on together. I'm glad the president had that conversation. I hope the president uses this and takes it a step further and gets Russia to help us with North Korea. There's a lot more they can do there.
Walid, how is this going to sort out globally? I mean, he's obviously taking an America First posture. How do you think that's going to be received in the rest of the world that has sort of embraced the Barack Obama method of like a we are the world thing?
Look, I remember the year 2016 where we, we're defending or developing this idea of America first, but America is not alone in this. It has allies. In the case of fighting terrorism, that's the most important combination of all these members, all these world powers. I mean, the 5 permanent members of the Security Council, namely United States, Russia, China, UK, and France, all of them are fighting Al-Qaeda and the jihadists. So there are areas where we can come together. And other areas, for example, settling crisis and humanitarian issues in Syria and other places, migration. There are many areas where we can, work together. But of course, we need to resolve the areas where we position ourselves against each other because of third countries.
Gentlemen, I want to thank you both very much.